Welcome back to Bagel Bytes. Today we're going to look at using the JS library with a reference field. Specifically, we're going to learn how to append a reference to a reference field. So let's jump right in. Here we have our authors collection. I've gone ahead and pre-filtered with some authors that relate to the books that we have added in previous Bagel Bytes. We're now going to go into the editor and we're going to look what it looks like when we make a query for authors, and specifically the books field, which is an item ref field. So here I've written a function, get authors. Authors simply does a get on the authors collection. It logs the authors, and then the last thing it logs is the books field for the first author. Let's run this function. And here we get back our data. The first bit is all the authors. So we have J.K. Rowling, we have J.R.R. Tolkien, we have William Golding, and we have Barack Obama. All the authors that we've added to our authors collection. This last piece of the logs is what the book looks like attached to J.K. Rowling. So it's Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, and here's the item ref ID. So the item ref ID references the book of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Now, let's go ahead and add a book for J.R.R. Tolkien. So, here we have the scaffolding, add book, and it's an async function with bageldb.collection, and here we put in the collection ID, which is authors. We find the item specifically for J.R.R. Tolkien, which is this one, and we copy the ID. And now we have a helper function for us. So append will add on an item ref to the books field. So first we put in the field that we would like to add it to, and the field slug is books. The item ref ID we have to look up. So we come back to books collection, and we find Lord of the Rings, which is the top one. We open Lord of the Rings and we'll scroll down to the bottom so that we can get the item ID. Let's copy that item ID. And let's come back to our code. So here we put in item ID. Oops, there we go. So we're going to append to books this item ID. Let's just make sure we did call the collection of books. And yes, we did. So the field is called books, and we're going to append that ID. So let's call add book. Clear, let's run it. Great, that's run. So now if we call get authors, and instead of on the first one, which was the first one? Instead of J.K. Rowling, we're going to print J.R.R. Tolkien. So let's print the first book. And let's run. Cool. And there we go. You can now see that J.R.R. Tolkien has an object inside the books array. And if we print that object, we get item ref ID, the one we set, and the value Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring. Let's do one more, for example. So we might do William Golding, whose ID is this. Copy that. We paste it in here. And again, we have books. We come back to the admin panel, books, and he wrote Lord of the Flies. We copy the ID. And we paste it in here. We call that book again. That's done. And we'll call get authors, specifically authors 2. Let's call that again. And here we see the item ref ID which we set, and Lord of the Flies, the book. And if we were to come back to our admin panel, we can now see that some books have been added to these authors. So that's one we added last time. Here's Lord of the Rings for J.J.R.R. Tolkien. We can open it and see that book. And it's as simple as that to add an item ref ID or an item ref to a field inside a collection. Thank you for joining me. And as always, the link to our Discord channel is in the description below, as well as the sign up link and the website.